My dfree journey probably started in 2010, give or take a year, I suppose, when I started going to the classes on Sundays, and I realized that I was really passionate about shoes and not as much passionate about saving for those shoes. And so I started going to the classes and understanding what it truly meant to be dfree, where my money was going, and that sort of thing. And I always knew about money, but I didn't necessarily know how that always applied to me. I was very young, and I thought I had time. But through the classes, I figured out that the earlier I started this journey, the better. So I got my financial shoes in order. I worked on my budget, and I was really able to accomplish some great things. I learned from the dfree program that it was really a mindset that went beyond just the immediate gratification of certain things, right? So, for example, I said that I like to buy shoes, but why was I buying those shoes? At the time, I had a role in my job that I was really struggling in, and I think that I was an emotional shopper, so I purchased those shoes to make myself feel better. And so I was able to really get to the root of that and understand kind of why I was doing it. And then throughout the years, I'm able to reconnect and say to myself, okay, if you're about to make this purchase, you're about to do this thing, that's okay, but why? And if it's a good reason, great. I got the money saved up for it, great. But if it's not really a reason that's rooted in God and in the plans that God has for me, then maybe I don't need to do that. So one of the most exciting things that I did to apply dfree in my life was pay off my student loans. And anybody who has student loans know that that's just such a weight off of your shoulders, and you really think that you're never going to do this. But one of the classes said, call up your loans and the people that you owe and ask them questions. And I asked how much I had paid in interest. And then I asked them how much I would pay in interest if I kept at the pace that I was going, and my soul said no. So I started to snowball and put all my extra money towards my student loans, and I was able to pay it off in such a record time because I didn't realize even how much extra money I could have been putting toward it. And it was so wonderful. It was great.
Do you remember how long that process was for you?
So surprisingly, it wasn't as long as I thought it would be. I think I did it in under a year, and I had probably less student loans than others, but more than none. And I started out with about $30,000, and I'd already been putting money toward it. But by that time, I realized that if I could put my bonuses and my tax returns, even just that, toward it, I put some extra, like my shoe money and some extra money that I would get from different places and things like that. And it was about a year that it took me to pay that off. And I felt rich. I felt rich. I wasn't, but that's okay, because I felt that way. So my husband and I got engaged in 2016, and it was very important to us as Christians to be married before we lived together. So if you're asking me how I applied that dfree mentality to our wedding, so we decided that in 2016 we would get married, but have something very small. Me and him, we were at our church out in Elizabeth, small group of people, let's just go get something to eat afterwards. Everybody clap, that's fine. But I am an only child. He is the last to be married in his family. He is Nigerian. We don't do small weddings. And so we began to plan for our 350 to 400 person wedding. Our goal was to be dfree. We saved very aggressively throughout the year. We did a lot of DIY. We took donations from people. So if people were willing to give us money before the wedding as their gift, or were able to do certain services like hair or makeup for free because they weren't able to financially contribute, that was fine. And we actually paid our wedding in full cash. And if you had told me before 2010 that I would have a 400-person wedding and pay it cash, I would have laughed at you. But we did it. But we applied a lot of the principles of what is it that we need, not what is it that we want. And we were able to really make smart financial choices that involved, so we could involve more people that we really wanted to be there. So my influence with my husband around dfree, marriage is definitely about communication, and it's certainly about recognizing where each one of our strengths were at. So he recognized, which I love him for, that the dfree mentality and finances was something that I was really passionate about. And he allowed me to, speak that over his life throughout the time that we were dating and into our marriage. So from there, we have paid all of his credit cards off, as well as his car is completely paid for. And that was really, really transformative for him, because that was not something that he had aggressive plans for. I mean, of course he was paying on them, but he didn't have aggressive plans for. And for me, it was really important that we live a life that was without without debt and without deficiencies and delinquencies, and really to establish ourselves and our future family. And he was able and willing to let me take a little bit of the lead for that, and it's been great. It's been really awesome. 3 reasons why you should do the dfree program. It's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. It really is worth it. Even if you think that you know money, even if you don't have a problem, because I didn't think I had a problem. I had money in the bank, but you might learn something about yourself that will help you be better in the future. And then you might learn something that'll help the people that you love be better, right? So you might meet someone, or you might have your own family members and friends that could benefit from just watching your lifestyle. As Christians, we're called to be, God on, or to have a reflection of God here on earth, and to be that light. And someone is watching you, and they might see your dfree mentality, and they might apply that. And then I would say for our next generations, as African Americans, a lot of times we don't have a history of wealth. And so we got to build it here and now. And why not start? I mean, it can start with you. So I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
That's awesome.